Hey, good morning, everybody, and happy early 4th of July. I'm glad to have you all here today. I am not Silas. He is taking a little time to be with family for the holiday, but we have the wonderful Steve Cavajola with us today, and our topic is how to become a lead creation expert, right? Lead creation expert, which is actually really important for building your business. Having those skills, refining those skills, honing those skills, it takes a lot of effort and determination and having a plan, right? And so I am excited to hear more about what Steve has to share, his years of wisdom in this business. And so if you wouldn't mind, though, please turn on your cameras if you're able to and sign your name to the chat for attendance today. And I'll continue to monitor the participants, Steve, and also the chat. So appreciate you all being here today. And Steve, my friend, take it away.
All right. So, what we're going to talk about today is becoming a lead creation expert. And I'm going to go over some reasons why this is important in a second. But, typically when people come into health markets, they focus on live transfers and they focus on internet leads. And that's a good place to start, but I'm going to go over some compelling reasons on why you want to eventually wean off of that as much as you can to grow your business. And so why should you learn to create your own leads? And again, the context behind this is, when I started this business back in 1997, there was no internet, there were no live transfers. AJ was just really, really small because I worked for his dad. But we would go into a meeting on Monday morning. We'd get about 5 to 10 telemarketed leads, and maybe a couple of direct mails were like gold, and then a stack of just old recycled leads. And that's all we got for the whole week. And so, literally, what we had to do is we had to go out and generate our own business. And so, when I sit here and think about creating my own leads, for me, it's very easy because it's what I had to do to start my business. I think what happens now when people come into this business because of live transfers, because of internet leads, I think it stunts people's growth because you have to almost physically decide to start creating your own leads. And so that's what we're going to go over today. We're going to go over, some techniques, some things you can do, how to start thinking differently. But here's the first reason why you should create your own leads. It eliminates the competition. I mean, when you think about it, if you're taking live transfers right now, you're competing with hundreds of other health markets agents in your area, across the country, but I'm competing with other people. And then if I take internet leads, I'm competing with hundreds of agents nationwide. And so by learning how to get people to call me, now that I still may be competing with a couple of other local insurance companies, but I'm not competing with 50 to 100 different people at one time. Okay. And so that's why you want to create your own leads because number one, it eliminates the competition. Number two, it saves you money. Because when you really think about it, to start creating your own leads, you're really just kind of spending money on marketing pieces from marketing on demand, where, you know, if I'm deciding to do what a lot of agents do, which is I'm going to sit at my computer, I'm going to get licensed in multiple states, I'm going to bring in live transfers, I'm going to bring in internet leads, that's going to cost you a lot of money. And it's only going to get more and more expensive as more and more restrictions come on what people can. The cost of a lead is going to start going up. I mean, what's a live transfer right now? If you're past 6 months, like 35 to $42 per lead.
Something like that.
Yeah, now we get data leads for 2 to 8 to 10 bucks, whatever. But again, it's if you're going to rely on live transfers and internet leads, you got to prepare to spend a lot of money doing it. Okay. Third thing, creating your own leads unlocks your earning potential. And the reason I say that because most people are not going to spend the amount of money necessary to be able to build this business to because I'll go back to a guy that was a top agent of ours a few years ago. His name was Greg Teipel. He spent $30,000 a month on leads. Now, he made over $1 million, so it can be done. But that's the thing. If you're just going to sit at your computer and you're going to wait for things to come in and you want to build and make a really good income, you're going to have to invest a lot of money, but you're also just limited to the number of leads that come in. Okay. I'm limited to the number of live transfers I get. I'm limited to the number of internet leads I get. Again, I'm competing with all these people. I'm spending all this money. But when I can actually go create my own leads, that unlocks your earning potential. And here's the reason why. Most people, when they create their own leads, they start doing it locally, which means I can start building a local practice, which is going to get me more referrals. It's going to, I'm usually can sit face to face with someone, or I can do it over Zoom to where it makes it easier to sell the supplemental products, the life products. And that's why when you look at the Jessup, especially the South Bend team, you look at all our tier 4 agents, we're not buying any leads. I mean, we might buy a couple. I buy some just to, again, I'll tell you why I buy leads in a little bit. But most of us, we just have an organic local presence where we don't rely on leads at all anymore. It's all coming to us. And that brings me to the last point of why you want to create your own leads. They're higher quality. Again, if you're calling internet leads, if you're calling people that are dialing an 800 number, it's probably going to be a lower quality lead. But when you can actually start creating your own, maybe you're going to start getting more leads from business owners or people that actually have jobs and they're not looking for free cheese, and that's why they call the 800 number. You know what I mean? And so learning how to do this myself, which again, I had to when I started. You guys don't have to, but I'm telling you, if you want to take your business to another level, you need to start learning how to create your own leads. Eliminates the competition, saves you money, it unlocks your earning potential, and it creates higher quality leads. Now, there's some other things you need to understand about marketing. So one of the things I did several years ago, I'm doing this almost 30 years now, and you can only read so many good books on selling. So several years ago, I started reading, when the internet started to come out, I started reading about marketing. And I came across a guy, his name's Frank Rambuskas. He unfortunately passed away, but he was one of the very first sales trainers to teach people how to market in the 21st century. And he had some really interesting concepts. And so when it comes to marketing in the 21st century, it's no longer about creating an interest. You see, when I started back in 1997, when there was no internet, I could cold call a business. I could walk in, I could call them on the phone. And a lot of times they would listen to me because I might bring something of value to their business. Now, when you try to create interest, you're just pissing them off because everybody's so busy. So marketing in the 21st century is no longer about, creating an interest. It's about creating a presence and building a database. Now, why do we want to create a presence? We want to create a presence because the first place people will go for information is the internet or social media. Guys, Sandler wrote a book called How to Sell to the Modern Buyer. And one of the first things he said is when people want something, they're going to go to the internet first. They're not going to open up a phone book and call the insurance guy. They're going to go to the internet. They're going to go to social media. And what's going to end up happening is they're going to get overwhelmed with information. In other words, they go to healthcare.gov and they see the 400 different plans, and that's when they will decide to reach out to an expert. They're going to try to do it first. Okay. And so, as the very first mind shift we need to think is, I need to create a presence on the internet. I need to create a presence in social media so that when people are looking, they'll find me. Okay. And you can also create a presence with billboards and stuff like that. But again, the very first place we want to create a presence is on the web. And then the reason you need to build a database is that you can continue to market through technology. The nice thing, a cold call in the past was a moment in time. If I called you or I walked into your business and I didn't talk to you, it was a moment in time. But now we have things like drip email campaigns and stuff like that where we can actually start build. That's why I still buy internet leads. Yes, there's a few deals in there, but I'm buying these leads to build up my database. Because what'll end up happening is now the CRM will market to these people on a regular basis, whether I'm doing anything or not. And so again, is if we just shift our mind from me trying to create interest with someone, and usually that results in rejection, I'm going to start building my marketing plan around creating a presence, and I'm going to start doing things to build my database so my CRM can market for me while I'm doing other things. Is that making sense with everybody? That's how marketing in the 21st century is. Another thing I learned from Frank Rombuskus is what's called a trigger event. A trigger event is something that creates a need, which in turn requires the prospect to buy. If there is no trigger event, then there's no type of marketing that will get the prospect to act. People ask me all the time, Steve, what's the best marketing piece out there? The one you get to someone when they have a trigger event. That's the best marketing piece because it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is, do they have a trigger event? It doesn't matter what I'm giving to them. Okay. And so, since we do not know when most people will have a trigger event, our job is to market our business so that when they come to us, they will come to us when a trigger event occurs. That's why I want to continue to market to people. That's why I'll walk into businesses every, 3 to 6 months. People say, we do walk and talks, and people say, well, how often do you walk and talk a town? About every 3 to 6 months. Because again, there's trigger events. I can't control that, so I am just going to continually keep my information out in front of people so that when they have a trigger event, they'll call me. Now, the reason I do this is in our world, we have things called open enrollment. So we have built-in trigger events. And so the whole idea of marketing for me is we should be marketing our business year round, specifically to these trigger events. See, what most people do for the open enrollments is they start marketing heavy in September. I start marketing in January for the next open enrollment. And why do I do that? Because if I'm marketing for the open enrollment all the time, I'm going to stumble across people who have a trigger event. But my whole idea is January through September, I'm marketing my business. October through December, I'm running too many appointments. But that's what I look at is I just look at, I got to continually get my stuff out to people over and over and over again so that when a trigger event comes, they'll come to me. Now, how do we do this? Well, there's 3 different types of marketing activities. The first one is called direct activities. Direct activities are activities that get your information directly to prospects so they can check you out and contact you if there's a trigger event. So what are some examples? Texting, emails, voicemails, direct mails, doing walk and drops, paper box stuffs, social media messaging, not posting, literally DMing someone on Facebook. Those are all examples of direct activities, okay? That's where I am getting my information to someone so that they can contact me if they have a trigger event. Now, the second type of marketing activity is called interruption marketing. These are activities where you're interrupting a prospect to see if there's a trigger event. Okay. This is the old world for cold calling. They don't call it cold calling anymore because that has a negative connotation. So they call it interruption marketing. Why? Because we're every time we reach out to someone, we're interrupting them, right? And so what are some examples? Calling internet leads. That's interruption marketing. Just traditional cold calls, whether I walk into a business or I call them and try to talk to them. Calling a referred name. If Sandra says, Steve, I need you to call my friend Janice, that's a glorified cold call. Okay. Walk and drop follow-ups. That's calling business. Hey, I stopped by your business last week. Calling recycled leads. These are the old leads. Now, this is getting harder and harder because of the do not call list. In the past, we used to get stacks. I used to get 20 or 30, we called them B leads. There was no call restrictions back there. Now, this is something that's kind of going away because, again, if they're on the do not call list, you can't call them. The 3-foot rule. That's you just interact with people when you're in a close proximity. Drive-by contacts. What the heck's that? That's where you're at a stoplight and you see a truck with Joe's Construction on it, and you just take your phone, Joe's Construction, 219-324-3527, and you reach out to them. Okay? Or calls to business cards that you find out in the field. Those are all examples of interruption marketing. Okay? And then the final type of activities is passive marketing. These are activities where you do not directly get your information to a prospect. It's more a matter of chance. Examples are giving clients business cards to hand out, putting up pull tabs or take ones on community boards, radio and TV ads, newspaper ads, being part of a BNI group, going to a trade show, putting up billboards, car wraps, placemats at restaurants, social media posts, and actually wearing the Health Markets logo is a passive marketing. Okay. Now, I do all three types of these activities, but I spend most of my time on these because these are the only things I can control. I can control how many people I get my information to on a daily or weekly basis. Okay. But I do interruption marketing because, again, I call some internet leads. And I do some passive marketing because I'll put things up on take ones or I'll give my clients business cards to hand out. But the bottom line is what I have found for most of the people, I've been doing this for a long time. Which of the three do you think most new people do? If anyone had to take a guess, is it direct activities, interruption marketing, or passive marketing?
Interruption.
Nope.
Hmm.
Well, you're right. They do interruption because they're calling leads. But if they're actually going out to start create their own, do you think they're doing direct activities or do you think they're doing passive marketing?
Passive marketing.
Exactly. Well, I'm in a BNI group. You know, I post things on social media. In other words, they're not doing the one activity that can build the business the quickest, which is the direct activities. And so if you want to become a lead creation expert, you have got to start mastering the direct activities. Okay. Now, does that mean you don't do the other stuff? No. But if direct activities aren't the primary component of you building a local practice, you're not building a local practice. You're just hoping something happens. Okay. And that's why you're going to become dependent on leads because your phone's not ringing. If you want your phone to start ringing, you have got to start doing direct activities. And you have to do a lot of it. So, and the other thing, and the final thing that I learned from Frank is leveraging the power of the internet. Now, the internet is the most powerful form of leverage now available. All my marketing activity revolves around the internet. Why? Where's everybody going to learn about something? The internet. Okay. See, people will not be willing to work with you until there's a trigger event in their life. In the first place, they're going to go for information is the internet. I'm just saying this over and over and over because I want to pound this in your guys' head. People aren't going to just reach out to you. They're going to go looking for information on Google, and you got to have a presence so they can find you. Okay. Now, the key to leveraging the internet is to get a domain name and use that name on all forms of advertising. So what I have is, again, Health Markets provides us with a very, very good website. I'm going to show it to you in a second on why I think it's important. But my URL for the Health Markets website is www.healthmarkets.com/Stephen.Cavajola. Guys, that doesn't even fit on a business card. Okay. So what I did is I went to GoDaddy and I got a domain name called localinsuranceoptions.com. I got another one called localmedicareoptions.com. So the first thing I would recommend everybody do is if you don't have a domain name for your Health Markets website, go get one. It costs you like $25 a year. Okay. And again, instead of trying to get creative with all these kinds of different things, if I was starting my business today, here's exactly the domain name I would use: slcinsurance.com or slcagency.com. I'm going to use my initials and then insurance or agency and then a .com, not a .org, not a .net. So Sandra, yes.
Just a note for your domain name. If you don't have one and you're going to get one, you do need to run it through compliance.
Yep. So you can't. And the reason you do that is they don't want to see someone I have freeinsurance.com. Okay. Or everyone qualifies for myinsurance.com. So yeah. So the easiest way to do if you don't have one is just use your initials with insurance, or because again, it's got to be something you can leave on voicemails, and it's something you put on all your. And then once you have it, you just go to GoDaddy or whatever place you get your domain name, and you just forward it to your Health Markets website. So anytime someone types in localinsuranceoptions.com, it goes right to my Health Markets website. Okay. Now, why do we want to market our website? The first reason to market your website is it makes you virtual. That's why you want to leverage the power of the internet, because by being virtual, I can give someone my website on Tuesday at 2, and they can check me out at midnight on Thursday, and I don't need to be there. My website is open 24/7, 365. So it makes me virtual. Basically, my website does my cold calling for me. So some of you who have seen some of my marketing scripts and stuff, how many times do you see me say, this is Steve Cavajola with Health Market? I don't. If you want to find out who I am, go to my website. Okay. The second reason to market your website is it makes you real. Guys, you got to understand, especially if you're calling an internet lead, these people are getting calls from people all over the country. And so if they see that you're local, and local could mean I'm in the same state as you. Okay. It doesn't have to be I'm in the same city, but it means I'm not in Florida. I live in Indiana. So if I live in southern Michigan and I take leads all over Michigan, I live in Michigan. Okay. I understand Michigan. So it makes me real. They can go in, and that's why we put your picture on there. They can see you're a real person. They can see where you're from. And so literally, guys, marketing becomes as simple as what activities am I willing to do to get my website out, and how many people will get my website before I'm done for the week. My goal is to get my website out around 300 to 400 times weekly. Now, that doesn't mean 300 or 400 different people. If I get an internet lead and I text it, I email it, and I leave a voicemail, there's 3 right there. If I get a business card, if I walk into a business and I drop off information and then I call it and then I email it, and that there's 4 from that one business. So it's not finding 300 to 400 different people. It's getting your website out multiple different ways, because there's some people that respond to email. Some people respond to text. Some people respond to voicemails. Some people respond to direct mails. Okay. So I want to just get my website out multiple ways. Now, here's what our website looks like, and I want to just show you the strategies on why this is such a good website now. So first of all, this is my domain name, localinsuranceoptions.com. But when they go there, they're going to come in here, and the first thing they're going to see is LaPorte, Indiana. They're going to see I'm local. Now, for those of you who know, I work a local territory. I work 6 counties. That's it. I'm only licensed in Indiana and Michigan, but I only buy leads in LaPorte, Porter Lake, Stark, Jasper, and Pulaski. That's my territory. So when someone comes in, they're going to say, okay, he's within an hour of me. Okay. The second thing they're going to see is the Google reviews. And if they start clicking on the Google reviews, guess what my clients are starting to do for me? They're starting to sell me. I don't have to sell myself. The Google reviews, because again, let's go back. What do people do when they want information? They go to the internet. And then what's the first thing they do? They look at the reviews. If you're going to go to a restaurant, you look at the reviews. If you're going to, guys, if building your Google reviews is not a strategy, you need to implement it now. Okay. And I have a video you can watch on it, so you can email me. I'll send you a video on that. But again, building up my Google reviews is a strategy. Why? Because when people go to my website, my customers are building me up. The second thing, or the third thing I like, is it shows the insurance I offer. So I may have an internet lead that's health. They don't need health, but curiosity killed the cat. So they go to the website and they're like, well, I don't need health, but man, I need dental, or I need life insurance. And so that's why I want people to see my website, so they can see oh, this guy does Medicare, right? So everything I'm doing is I'm trying to drive people to my website so they can see I'm local, they can start reading my Google reviews, and they can see the lines of business I help with. Okay, so is there any questions, Sandra, in the chat, or does anyone have any questions before we move on?
No questions in the chat, Steve, but I did put a side note because I know there are sub agents on here who also sell for their sponsor agents. And unfortunately, we don't have access to a website. Only your sponsor agent does.
So become an agent. Just kidding. Kind of.
I'm retiring.
Yeah. All right. So how do I market my website? Okay. So here's the strategies I use to market my website. The first thing I do is I walk and drop small businesses. I just literally walk into a small business. There's all kinds of things I'll market on it, and I literally just say, here's some information. If we can ever help you, let me know. Why? Because this tells everything they need to know about me. I don't go in and say, I'm Steve Cavajola with Health Markets, but I don't engage with the business owners because they're busy. I don't interrupt them because I don't want to see, my whole business philosophy is I want to start a relationship with you, and I don't want to start a relationship off on a bad foot, which is me interrupting you and telling you to stop what you're doing and listen to me talk. I would rather drop a bunch of information off, have you go check out my website, and then you can call me if you're interested. Okay. So that's the first thing I do, is I just walk into businesses, drop off information. I direct mail. I actually direct mail small businesses, and I direct mail Medicare agents, because again, with Medicare, there's only a couple of ways you can contact them if they're not your existing client. You can direct mail them or you can email them. That's it. So a strategy of mine to get my website out is I direct mail small businesses and I direct mail Medicare. I do what's called paper box stuffs. What the heck's that? If I'm in a subdivision or if I'm in a rural area like a county where there's a bunch of farms, I literally will stick advertising pieces in their paper box, not their mailbox. So again, when you think about it, if you're in an older subdivision, they got a mailbox, then they have like a blue or yellow or orange paper box that actually just is a big wasp or bird nest now because there's no newspapers anymore and people don't take them down. So I stick stuff in there. Okay. Or if I'm in a or the new mailboxes actually have that little slot underneath. So I literally will just drive on the wrong side of the road. I'll listen to a podcast and I'll just start popping these things in. Okay. And if I see someone in the driveway, I'll wave to them, but that's what I do. I market where my feet are. So if I'm in a business area, I'm going to do walk and drops. If I'm in a subdivision or a rural area, I'm going to do paper box stuffs. Okay. Then I leave voicemails. I leave voicemails for internet leads and I leave voicemails for small businesses after hours. I email internet leads and I email small businesses. And I text internet leads and I text small businesses if it's got a cell phone number on there. Okay. But that's how I market my website. Who just wrote on that? That was
I
actually,
don't know. I saw that. I have no idea. I don't even know how you do that.
I don't either, but we'll leave it. It looks cool.
Okay.
All right. So that's how I market my website is my strategies are around these 6 things, which are the 6 activities on the PTS. Okay, and we're gonna look at my PTS in a second. Now, marketing to small businesses. The reason you want to do this is the most proactive form of marketing because if the door is open, you can go in. And also, most businesses are not on the do not call list. So again, when I'm sitting there thinking about what's the best way to market my business, you've got to start thinking Small Business America because you know what? I cannot walk into someone's house and most consumers are on a do not call list. So I'm going to focus on small businesses. Another reason why you want to do that is most insurance agents are calling leads all over the country. They're sitting at their desk, they're licensed in multiple states, and they're not walking in and helping these people. The other thing is group insurance brokers don't want to deal with small business owners. Why? Because they want 30, 40, 50 employees. If it's less than that, it's a waste of their time. So you have this segment of the world that nobody's helping. They're having to figure it out all by themselves in most cases. The other reason why I want to market to small business owners is health insurance is always a big deal to small business owners, either their health insurance or the health insurance for the employees or the health insurance they wish they could provide their employees. One call could result into multiple sales. I have a little trucking company that I walked in one time. I've got 13 clients from there. I've got another plumbing company I stopped by. I've got 9 clients from there. Again, when you guys get a live transfer, it's usually one person, a family, that's it. When you walk into a business, if you decide they want to start working with you, you could get 2, 3, 4, 5 sales right then and there. Okay. And then small business owners understand the need for income protection products like life insurance because they know if they're not working, they're not making any money. A lot of them, I just got an email from Kate. She's working with someone who needs a life insurance policy for a business loan. Okay. There's some of my biggest life cases are in the business world because they do crazy things like buy sell agreements. I just had a friend of mine come in and I did a $500,000 policy on him last week. It was $250 in premium. I mean, there's just guys, the small business America, nobody's servicing them. And there's so much potential in there. But if all I'm doing is wait for, because let me tell you what, Most small business owners aren't calling a live transfer. Most small business owners aren't going on the internet and requesting information. You know what they're doing? They're talking to their friends, they're going to Google, and they're finding someone locally that can help them with what they want to deal with. Okay. So, how to find small businesses. The first thing you got to do is get out in the field, go do walk and drops, drop off a marketing piece. And while you're out in the field, pick up business cards in the business and look for community boards. So again, where are community boards? Learn to gargle. We used to have a rep called Russ Moe. He was one of the top agents in the country. And when Tom called him one day, AJ's dad, and said, "What the heck are you doing?" He goes, "I'm just gargling every day." And what? He goes, "I go to gas stations, apartment buildings, restaurants, grocery stores, laundromats, entrance and exits, and I leave my marketing stuff." But he did it at like 400 different places, and his phone rang off the hook. Okay. But that's what you want to do, because when you're putting that stuff on, guess what's all over the community board? So while you're marketing your business, start ripping down all the business cards or get your phone and start taking pictures. There's just business cards everywhere if you'll just get out of your office or get out of your house that you can start marketing to. And then the other thing is, if you are in the office, maybe you're waiting for live transfers, start researching business on the internet. Just go to Google and put body shops near me. It'll list all the body shops and look for addresses, emails, and phone numbers. Now, some of them may just have the address and the phone number. That's fine. In a perfect world, I want all three, but if I only get one or two, if I just have a phone number, I can still market to that small business owner. And so here's how we do it. The first thing that I do is I always send a direct mail. I just send a direct mail. So again, if I find a business card or if I'm online and I'm searching businesses, but there's an address, I'm shooting them a direct mail. Now, a lot of people say, "Steve, well, man, stamps are expensive." Yeah. About it's $78 for 100. That's the cost of 2 live transfers. So I can get my information to 100 people for $78, or I can get 2 live transfers where they're just looking for Medicaid for the same cost. Guys, you got to start thinking differently about investing in your business, okay? Direct mail is actually a very, very good marketing avenue right now because a lot of companies quit doing it. But the people that we're doing it to, no one else is reaching out to them with the stuff that we offer. Okay. Think it like Aflac. Aflac's not walking into a mom and pop shop. Aflac's working with school systems. They're working with major factories for payroll deduction. They're not walking into a florist shop. But we can do that kind of stuff. So I send a direct mail. Then, if I have an email, I'm going to send a marketing email. And the subject line is "Not sure if this is for you." Okay. The whole key to emails is make the subject, get them to at least see what this is about. Okay. So, and then the body is, I'm a local insurance agent with one of the largest independent agencies in the country. We work with small business owners who are frustrated with their current healthcare situation and would like some cost-effective alternatives. Now, I don't know if this is relevant to you, but if it is, and you'd like to see if we could help, reply to this email or contact me through my website. So if they don't contact, are they rejecting me? Or are they not frustrated with their current healthcare situation? That's it. So every business email I find, I'm going to shoot them this email. And then I'm going to call the business after business hours. Okay. And I'm going to say the same thing. I'm not even going to sound my name. I'm a local insurance agent for one of the largest independent agencies in the country. We work with small business owners who are frustrated with their current healthcare situation, would like some cost-effective alternatives. I don't know if this is relevant to you, but if it is and you'd like to see if I could help, please, it's not reply to this email. I forgot to change it. It's please visit my website or text me at my phone number. Okay. Now, if someone answers the phone, because I could be calling a business card and it could be a landscaper cell phone. I'm sorry, I have the wrong number. You know what they'll say? No problem. Because I don't want to talk to people. Now, if you want to call people during business hours, go for it. I don't. I just want to leave information so people can call me. And then what you start doing with this information is you start building a small business database and repeat the process every, 3 to 6 months. So again, I can start putting these people into my CRM. I can tag them as a business, and then I can go search just business. All these people and I can shoot them a direct mail if I have an address. I can just do the same thing every 3 to 6 months. But that's how I market to small business owners. It's a strategy that's going to take time. I can do stuff out in the field, but you know what? If I'm sitting at my desk waiting for live transfers, this is the kind of stuff I can start building my business with right now without ever having to leave the office. It's 150 degrees out today. I probably don't want to walk into businesses, but I can sit in my air conditioned office, get on my computer, and I can start looking for businesses that I can email, that I can call after hours, and I can text. Guys, that is my strategy. So when we look at this, this is my PTS, and this is from the first quarter.
Ooh, you might have to make it just a teensy bit bigger. I don't know if you can.
How's that?
That's good.
All right.
Thank
So,
you.
very first column we have here is the direct activities. Okay, those are those 6 things that I just talked about. So my goal is to get my website out 300 to 400 times. So the last quarter, I sent out my website over 5,000 times in 13 weeks, or an average of 417 a week. I direct mailed it, I emailed it, I texted, I put it in someone's paper box, I mailed it to them. But those are those 6 activities that I just talked about. Now, here's the thing you need to understand. Total responses. Total responses, there's 4 different things I count as a response. The first thing is people who do respond to a direct activity. The second thing I count is people who call me because they got my name from someone else, because I don't ask for names and numbers from people. I send people business card magnets to hand out. And so people will call me and said, hey, I got your name from Sandra, or I got your name from my Edward Jones guy, or whatever. Okay. The third response is someone finds me on the internet. And then the fourth response is a customer calls me and says, Steve, I need life insurance, or I need to add dental. Okay. So during this quarter, I got 237 responses. I got 237 people saying, Steve, I need to talk to you, or an average of 18 a week. Guys, what would your life be like if you had 18 people a week calling you, texting you, emailing you saying, I need some help? Would you have to take as many live transfers? Would you
No,
really
and you'd be
care if the
tier four in
internet
about a
lead?
year.
What's that?
No, and you'd be a tier four in about a year.
Maybe sooner, depending on the products you sell. But again, would I still take internet leads? Yeah, but am I dependent on them? No. Okay. So when I look at the total number of responses, I actually see, okay, out of this 237, how many of them were referrals? 28, or an average of 2 a week. So 2 times a week, I'm getting someone said, hey, I got your name from someone else. Out of this 237, 10 of them were, they found me on Google. How'd you find me? Well, I found you on the internet. Okay. So again, out of the 18, 3 of those are referrals or internet, which means the other 15 are from here. Okay. Now, I do not take any live transfers. I do take on average about 43 leads a week. But guys, here's the thing you need to understand. I dial the phone on average 24 times a week. Why? Because when you're getting 18 people a week saying, I need to talk to you, you don't have to dial the phone very often. And so out of the 315 dials I did in a quarter, some of you do that in a week. I do it in a quarter. I talked to 52 people and I set 32 appointments, or an average of I set an appointment for every 2 people I talk to. Why? Because most of the people are contacting me. But here's the other thing. I also got 106 appointments scheduled through my scheduling site, which means I didn't talk to them at all. So an average of 8 appointments a week are people just getting my website, they book an appointment, or I text them a scheduling link and they sign it. And then when I look at the appointments I run, I average 10 appointments a week. 5 of them are new. I don't know why this is 4. It's just math. I'm averaging about 4,300 a week in FYCRs. Now that's tier 2. So I'm averaging more than that. I average 3 health plans a week, 4 subs, need to get my life count up. But the bottom line is I average 682 points on the PTS. So that is what I track. Now let's look at the second quarter. So far, I've, in the first 4 weeks, I've already gotten my information to 15, or my website to 1,500 people. Right now, I'm averaging 22 responses a week, 3 referrals, 2 internet. I'm not getting as many leads. I'm only dialing the phone 7 times. But guys, look at my appointment setting ratio. I talked to 14 people in the last month and I set 13 appointments. But look how many appointments were done on my scheduling site. 36. I'm averaging 12 a week. My FYCRs are 6,100. And as you can see, I'm always over 500 points. But here's what I want to show you. Last week, I was supposed to be in Florida for the show. And we had to back out because I have one of my daughters is having some health issues, and we just didn't feel leaving her alone was not a good idea. So I had that whole week booked out until like the Wednesday before. So I opened it all back up, didn't really call anybody. Guys, I had 19 appointments last week when I was supposed to be gone. But I still got my information to 557 people with 19 appointments. So that's my whole moral to this story is most of you guys just aren't working like a business owner. You're working like an employee. You're waiting for things to happen. You're not making things happen. Now, I will tell you, because I had so many appointments, most of these were done right from my office. Okay? Didn't go in the field at all last week. But when I wasn't running an appointment, I was doing direct mails. I was finding businesses. I was shooting out emails. I was sending direct mails to people turning 60. I mean, when I'm not working, again, guys, the only 3 things I do during the working hours are I market my business, I dial the phone, or I run an appointment. That's it. But if you will start doing that, day after day, week after week, and start building a strategy to start building a local practice, and then track it so you can tell if you're on track or not, this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen. So, in the time we have left, what are the questions you guys have, or comments? Or Sandra, do you have anything to add?
No, and I love the fact that you are tracking your activity so you can see the fruits of your labor is right there. You're using this data to kind of do an analysis and then strategize what you're going to do the next week or the next month or the next period. So I think utilizing the technology, utilizing data, tracking your business, but what do you like to say? What's your favorite thing about some of these activities?
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. I know some people just don't want to go out and do walk and drops or go into small businesses, but I don't want you all to put your eggs in one basket either. You got to market your business. And so I think you've laid out some really good ideas and thoughts and reasonings behind why we do some of these activities and what you hope to see.
Yeah, matter of fact, this is from Mastering the Buyer's Sales Journey. This is the section on prospecting. You know what they teach in Sandler? You don't got to like marketing, you just got to do it. Now, you know why most people don't like to market? Because
Why?
they're trying to create an interest. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to cold call and I'm going to, tell you to stop what you're doing. Guys, if you change your philosophy to, I just need to get my website to as many people as possible, marketing becomes fun because there's no rejection. There's none. Here's some information. If we can help you, let me know. Boom, I sent them an email. I sent them whatever. Even if they text me back and say, go fly a kite, who cares? But the thing about it is you've got to have that massive action that Silas talks about all the time, and most of you just don't. You're waiting for things to happen, and when you're doing things, you're just not doing enough. Your whole day is just a bunch of busy work. It feels like you're working, but we don't get paid by the hour. We get paid by the activity. And the only things we should be doing is marketing, dialing, or running appointments.
Yep, we do have a question. So does Health Markets have the website templates by the URL on GoDaddy or wherever, or who do you use to host the site? Well, this is Steve Herman, you have a website through Health Markets already. And then what you do is you go to the GoDaddy, see what maybe domain names are available, submit it to compliance. Your sales assistant, Rachel or Christine, can help you do that to make sure it goes through compliance.
All right.
I don't know if that helps to answer your question, Steve.
So let me just show you how you do it. So right here, you can just go here. Go to GoDaddy.
Search the domain.
It's taken.
Oh my goodness, somebody has it.
All right.
But then they have an alternative they suggest.
Or I can do slcagency.com. Same guy has it. Okay. So he's using his, again, you can do slc-agency.com. But that's the thing. When you go in here, you just start popping things in and they're going to give you different things.
Mm-hmm.
So how about this? scagency.com. God, this guy has them all. So, but yeah, you just got to start looking and you'll find it. But then once you get in there, so let me go to my products.
You could go cavagency.com.
Yep. All right. So again, guys, I have SLC Medicare quotes. That takes them to my Connecture. SLC dental quotes, that takes them to a company we have for dental. SLC health quotes, that takes them to Health Sherpa. SLC life quotes takes them to Ethos, local Medicare options. SLC review, that takes them to Google reviews. So I mean, I have all kinds of domain names. Okay.
And you have a profile picture. I feel there are many agents out there who fail to update their profile, and it's just a silhouette.
Oh, so here's that SLC dental quotes. So all I do is I buy these domain names and I just forward it to where it wants to go. So this is the NCD. This is a new dental company we have. It's got my name right there. Okay, search dental provider, search vision, but I can just go.
And if they get a quote, they see a product they like, they enroll in it.
Yep.
Who gets paid?
I do. So again, they can start looking this around. And I actually found that this MetLife actually has a bigger network than United Healthcare. And then it also has for vision, it has VB, what is it?
Oh, the VSP.
Yeah, which a lot of people already know.
VSP network.
Yeah. So, or if someone goes to slclifequote.com.
Takes you to your ethos.
Yep. And so all this stuff looks like it's my things, but guys, do you understand? The internet is where it's at. I want to have domain names. I want to shoot people where they need to go. And I'm not going to just walk into a business and say, let me talk you into trying to do something. No, it's dropping off a bunch of information, shooting out my website a bunch of times, and they'll contact me if they have questions. So, what other questions are there?
Well, this is great information, Cav. Thank you so much. I don't see any other chat questions in the chat, but if anybody has a question, feel free to unmute and ask. No, we're getting lots of thank yous. So I think you covered it pretty well, Cav. Now it's a matter of people going out and executing, develop a plan and execute.
Yeah, you guys got to make this a strategy and you've got to commit to it.
Great.
Otherwise, you're just going to be destined to whatever live transfers and internet leads you get, and you're going to end up being frustrated.
Well, I appreciate everybody being on. Cav, I really appreciate you and wish everybody a wonderful and safe 4th of July. And we look forward to seeing you at the next session next Tuesday.
See you next week.
Have a great weekend, everybody.